Thanks for joining me. This is Danny, and welcome back to my modded 1.12.2 series. Today is finally the Extra Utilities Day. We're going to be playing with Extra Utilities. We're going to play with the screen, the boomerang, the player chest, and the angel ring, of course, for Creative Flight. Now, of course, we already have Creative Flight, and we're getting it from the Wings of the Bat from Actually Editions. But this is kind of a temporary flight. It has a cooldown time, so we can only fly for a certain amount of time. Then we got to stop and rest. And once we get the flight from Extra Utilities, we're going to have permanent Creative Flight forever. But we do have to use GP in order to use it. If you don't already know it, Extra Utilities is a mod that has an interesting mix of different types of utilities and blocks and tools and machines and things for all kinds of different stuff. Now, we've already started playing a little bit with Extra Utilities in this series, like with these transfer nodes and pipes that we use to set up our farm over here. It's a really great early game, like cheap item movement system. It's a really cheap way to move your stuff around early game. And we also played around with some cursed earth. We made a cursed earth mob farm by, of course, clicking on dirt with a drop of evil. That is a rare drop from a wither skeleton, and that is powering our whole evil craft setup over here. Oh, and by the way, at the end of the episode today, we're going to go visit someplace that we haven't seen in a really long time. In fact, you could say we were in a completely different world back then. A lot of Extra Utilities, blocks, and machines and such use RF or forge energy, just like everything else. But Extra Utilities also has its own power system called grid power, which is a passive generation system that consists of mills and solar panels and such that generate power without the need for any resources. In the beginning, when you're first getting started with Extra Utilities, there are actually two different things that you can set up that you can make right away without having any grid power available to you already. One of them is the solar panel, which, as we saw, is just some lapis. There's polished stone, which is just a 2x2 of stone bricks. And then resonating redstone crystal, which you get as a kind of a rare-ish drop from redstone, but it's something that you can also craft with an ender shard, which we'll get into later. So we can see each one of these solar panels is generating 1. When we hover over it, says power generating 1, and then the grid power 2 out of 7 means that we're generating 7 grid power right now. We're using 2 for something. I don't know what though. I don't remember what I used it for, but if we place another one down, then we can see we're now generating 2 out of 8. These chunks do need to be loaded in order for this grid power to stay working, in order for it to still be available to us. But the grid power is connected to the player, so our player now has access to 8 grid power no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing. We will always have access to that grid power, and we don't need any pipes or wiring or anything crazy like that. So now the manual mill is the other thing that you can make right away, and basically this thing will generate 15 GP if you click on it. So you set it down in the world and you just right click on it. That might be nice for when you're first starting out with Extra Utilities and you want to make a bunch of the higher tier mills, which we're going to do right now. So when we hover over the mills, it tells us how much GP, power given, 4 GP for the lava mill when we place it next to lava. This is generally telling us the maximum that it can produce, because it will produce less if we make a whole bunch of the same kind. They become less efficient. So you're going to want to mix up your mills. The dragon mill is going to give us 500, which is going to be more than enough. The water mill, it says it's going to give us 4, but we can actually get 16 out of this because it'll give us 4 for each side. But before we can make any of those mills, we're going to need to make ourselves a resonator. Is this guy, which requires a block of coal. So easy enough. And this resonator will require GP, but we can place it anywhere. And I'm actually going, well, no, I'm going to leave that vanilla crafting table because we're actually going to need a vanilla crafting table in a while. I'm just placing it here temporarily while we're working with this mod today, and then I'll move it later. But the resonator will basically allow us to make a bunch of stuff that we're going to need for lots of stuff in Extra Utilities. So if we look at our mills again, now I'm going to make a water mill, just one, just so that we can kind of see how this thing works, because it's a little confusing for some people to set up. And then I'm also going to make a dragon egg generator, because obviously that's going to give us 500 GP. And we have dragon eggs. We have all the resources we need for it. So, I mean, generally this is going to be a later game mill because you need 2 nether stars and an eye of redstone, but and a dragon egg in order to power it. But, you know, we're already there, so whatever. We're good. So we're going to need a bunch of the stone burnt, which we make in the resonator with the polished stones. So I'm just going to make a stack of this stuff right away, and I'm going to throw it in here, and we'll just get a stack going right away. This only requires 8 GP. Now, when you do run out of GP, like if we... Oh, you know what? We are going to run out of GP. because we're using 2 GP, and I still don't know why we're using 2 GP. I must be using a speed upgrade or something somewhere. So once you run out of GP, or like once you hit the top, it just shuts off. Your grid is overloaded. Everything that you're using that requires GP is going to stop working. Everything. So you want to try to avoid that situation. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to make a manual mill. So here's that situation where the manual mill is useful. And you just place this guy in the world, and all you have to do is right click on it once. And as long as you're standing here, like I'm not holding down the button, the right click button, but it's going to generate stuff for us, grid power for us while we're standing here. And if I turn away, it'll stop generating grid power. So you can see it's now ramping its way up to 6. Once it hits 6, it's going to stop working, and then I could just click on this. We can put speed upgrades in this guy to make it faster, which I think I'm going to do. But if you put speed upgrades in it, it is going to increase the GP cost, but it's not telling us how much it was going to cost. But I guess we'll put it in the Resonator, and then we'll find out. So if we put this in here, it'll say it needs 8 GP. So I guess we're going to have to do the manual mill again. And there is no way to automate the manual mill. Like you can't use a mechanical user. You can't right click on it like with anything but a player. Like it has to be a player right clicking on it. It actually detects that, and it's actually specifically designed to require a player. Yeah, because we have a compacting drawer. So I'm going to make 2 of these speed upgrades. I'm going to put this in here, and then when we put our polished stone back in, we're going to see it's now going to require 24 GP, which we can't generate. So we're going to have to take one of these speed upgrades out, and that'll bring us to 16 GP, which we can generate. So I made 6 for our water mill. We'll just get 1 water mill up. What did that need in the middle? Okay, so we already ran... No, it just needs a block of wood. Okay. Okay, there we go. So there's our water mill. I'm going to get a bucket. Or 2. Actually, I'll just grab 2 right away to make this easier. And again, we can put this thing anywhere. The only requirement is that wherever we put it, the chunks have to be loaded. All right, I'm just going to place this thing down here out of the way because we don't really have to see it. So, I mean, we never really have to interact with it. I'm going to put it right there. Now, the optimal situation is to have flowing water touching each side. You want flowing water, not like a water source. And to optimize it, we want to have that water exactly 1 block away from each side. So this is the most optimal setup right here, is just to have 1 right there, and we can see we're now generating 8 GP. If we were to put a block next to it, we would see that we're only generating 11 right now, but if we move that to right there, we will see we're now generating 16, and that is the maximum that you can generate with these things. Now, if we wanted to set up a whole bunch of these water mills, we could put one right here, and it would already be using those 2 water sources, and then we would just put another water source right here, and then we can kind of set them up in a grid like that so that each water source is powering multiple water mills. But that's all I'm going to do right now because we're doing the Dragon Mill generator, so we don't really need more. We're now only generating 16 GP because it's nighttime. Obviously, the solar panels require daytime. There are also lunar panels that will give you GP at nighttime. But those do require the stone burnt that we get from our Resonator. But right now, we have enough GP. We're doing 24. That we can throw the rest... Oh, it is already doing it. Okay. So it can do the rest of this. Can we do this now? 24 GP. No, not quite. We need 2 more GP. So I could actually just run the mill for those last 2 GP. Oh, wow. It's really fast. But I just need 6 more. So we already have 7 because now I'm going to make the Dragon Mill. Oh, actually only needed 4. So I have redstone, easy enough. And another one of these guys. And that's it. Hooray. Our mob farm will automatically make more nether stars for us. Yay. Oh, and then we need a dragon egg. And we have 2. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it right here. I think it'll be a nice decorative piece. Our dragon mill. Actually, that is a little bit ugly. So maybe what I'll do is put it in the floor and then display the dragon egg on top. Hooray! Now if we look at anything, you can look at any extra utilities block and you will see what's in your grid. So we can see we are now generating 524 GP. Hooray! So we can pump this thing up with all kinds of speed upgrades. And yeah, we'll be good to go. So the maximum we can do is 4 speed upgrades. And we can see it's quite a bit faster. It's now using 40 GP, which is like a drop in the bucket for us right now. But it's nice and fast. If you want it to be even faster, then you have to make the magical or ultimate upgrades. The speed increase is actually the same, except that you can put more of them in there. And like, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that with the ultimate ones, you can do 64 speed upgrades, which will make it ridiculously fast. So before we get to the angel ring, I do want to make a boomerang because this is really fun. A boomerang requires 3 magical wood. And to make the magical wood, as you can see, it requires a bookshelf and a gold ingot and 4 XP. Now, of course, if we try to do that in a refined storage grid, we're not going to get anything. If we try to do it in anything other than a vanilla crafting table, we're not going to get anything. So we have to do it in here, and it will take 4 XP right out of our player, or right from our player every time we make one. And then we can make ourselves a boomerang. Hooray! Boomerangs are fun because we don't have anything to kill though. But well, let's try a squid just for fun. Because you can throw them at things and it comes back to you because it's a boomerang, right? But not only does it come back to you, okay, one more time. Doesn't do much damage. It brings all the stuff back to you, including, well, it's supposed to bring the XP back to you too, but it didn't. Hey, it didn't bring the squid back. Okay, so it's not perfect. But there are a lot of upgrades that you can give this guy. You can put potions on it. You can put splash potions on it, and it will apply those potion effects to things that you hit. And you can also enchant it. Zoomerang 3? Ooh, look at that. And Bladerang. I don't even know what that is. We might have to look that up. Zoomerang and Bladerang. And I just got the achievement Enchanter. Hooray! So nighttime is coming. And we can do some fun stuff with our boomerang. Oh yeah, this is another thing that we've been doing with extra utilities. Ender lilies. Oh. Our ender lily farm is killing our butterflies. Alright, no mobs yet, but I don't want to wait. Nice, look at that. 1 hit. It didn't bring the stuff back though. What's that all about? Tallow? Oh, I hear something. I hear someone. All right, let's see if I stand on the ground. Maybe up here. What? Wow. Look at that. It 1 hits. It's not bringing the stuff back like it's supposed to. Oh, we can't kill creepers. We have a pact with them. Oh, nice. Look at that. Okay, so that did bring some stuff back that time. Could you stop moving around? Wow. Got a nice range, too. Check out the range on this thing. Oh, I missed. Check out the range on this thing when I actually hit. Okay, so now that wasn't as impressive because he got close to us. Check out this range. Wow. That's crazy. This thing is kind of OP when you get it enchanted. Oh, it doesn't kill the witch with 1 hit, though. So let's check out the screen now. A lot of the recipes in extra utilities require these ender shards, which are basically an ender pearl with a glass cutter. Now, this glass cutter is something you can actually use to cut glass, believe it or not. You can use it to cut glass, and it will basically silk touch glass, so the glass will drop. But if you use it with an ender pearl, it'll break it up into 8 pieces. And what's really cool about it is the texture actually changes. So you can see there's 7 in my hand, and there's 1 down there, 2, 6. Put them all together, and it's a full circle of 8. That is so cool. It's a really nice touch. But anyway, I'm going to make a couple of these screens. And we'll take a look at how these work. And basically what these screens do is they allow you to display PNG images that are on Imgur. So I just typed in capital NVMD1W9, which happens to be Danny's Sire News pack. Hooray! If I place 3 by 3, it would make it even bigger. If I place just 1, it'll make it smaller. If I break 1, and then it's just going to fit it to whatever shape we have. So this is a perfectly square image, so having a 2 by 2 works pretty nicely. But these do require GP. They each take 1, so right now we're using 4 GP. So one last thing before we get into the ring, and that is the player chest. So the player chest does require an ender chest, which requires an iron ender. While I'm holding this thing, it's telling me grid power, what my grid power is. But anyway, we played with the player interface from Actual Editions, which is pretty nice. It allows us to pipe RF into our player. It also allows us to pipe items and pull items out and such. The player chest from Extra Utilities is quite similar, with a few differences. The one big difference, well, I guess 2 big differences. One is that it doesn't do RF, so we can't use it like as a wireless charger like we are doing with the player interface. But what's really nice about it is that it allows us to specify slots that we're going to have access to for input-output. For instance, what we're doing right now with this player interface from Actual Editions is we're telling it when we don't have 64 arrows in our inventory, so if I put some back, we're telling it to give us arrows, which works really nicely, except, as we can see, it puts them... Wait, why did we only get... Oh. It doesn't always put them where we want them. Like, it doesn't stack them together. How did we end up with a couple extras there? Okay, anyway. Whereas this, we can tell it, hey, we want you to have access to this particular slot for insertion. So then we can use any kind of input-output on this thing, a hopper, whatever, doesn't matter, pipes. In this case, we're going to use XNet connectors. And we're basically going to do what we were doing with the Actual Editions one, but now we're going to use the Extra Utilities one to give us arrows. So we're going to go in here, and actually, first of all, we're going to disable the Actual Editions one. Yeah, we'll just get rid of that. Player chest, which is down here, and we're going to say create a node, and we're going to insert arrows. Oh. And now, if we do that same thing again, we will see that it's always going to put the arrows right there. If we lose all our arrows, it's just going to put them all back for us. Yay! That's very, very nice. That's so nice. And we can pull things out. We can even access our armor slots and say, if our armor gets low, we can replace it. We can say if our durability on this thing gets low. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff that you could do with this. I'm just going to use it to keep us stocked with arrows. And then we're going to move on to the rings. So in Extra Utilities, there are 3 flight rings. And actually, for now, I'm just going to get rid of our Actual Editions one. The first tier, basically, is the chicken wing. The chicken wing ring, which basically lets us float or drift like a chicken or whatever, so that we don't take fall damage. And as you can see, there is a cooldown, so that we can't just fall forever. Oh, and you have to hold down the space key. So I jump down here, I hold down the space key, and then I kind of float to the bottom, and it negates all fall damage. So this is really great for early game. It's not particularly expensive either. Just a couple feathers, and we need a chicken and a golden lasso. The other ring is the squid ring, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So we take a golden lasso. The golden lasso has a similar crafting recipe to the magical wood that we did before. You have to do it in a vanilla crafting table, and you have to use 8 XP in order to craft it. And then we just take this guy and right click on a mob, on a non-hostile mob. Oh, we don't have our ring. On a non-hostile mob, and that picks it up. And then we could right click on the ground to place the mob again if we wanted to. We can use this for moving mobs around. But in this case, we're going to use it for a recipe, and that recipe is the squid ring. Jet propulsion at your fingertips. So this guy uses 16 GP, so that would be like 2 watermills. No. That would be 1 watermill. And it basically gives us a jetpack. Pretty much. No hover, but it does give us the jetpack. So if you use this in combination with like a glider or something, you'll basically have flight forever. But you do have to be careful about taking fall damage. So make sure you hit space when you hit the ground, unless you have some other means of protecting yourself from fall damage. But it has a cooldown, so if we're up in the sky when this thing runs out, we're going to take a little bit of damage. So you want to leave a little bit. So we just start falling. So, we were over water. Okay, so now normally you would use the ring of the flying squid in order to make your angel ring. But in this pack, the recipe has been changed to require the wings of the bat from Actual Editions. But we also need a cursed lasso with a ghast in it and a golden lasso with a bat. So I'm going to grab my wings of the bat back, and I'm going to grab our lassos. We're going to catch a bat. I hear a bat right now. We're going to have to make another lasso. In here. Oh, we need some string. Actually, one little trick, if you want to get the resources that you need for it, is to do the recipe in your refined storage or whatever system that you have, and then you can just double click to pull the items out, and then we can go over here so that you don't have to go digging through your system for all the stuff. Okay, and then we're going to need a drop of evil. Do we have a drop of evil? We don't. Okay, so we're going to have to go get a drop of evil so that we can turn this into a cursed lasso. And even when you can fly, these things are hard to catch. These little boogers. Imagine what this would be like if we didn't have the wings of the bat. Hey, where'd you go? Don't go in the lava. Don't go in the lava. No, don't die. Don't. It took me so long to find that bat. I don't know. There should be so many here. Oh, there we go. There's another one. Oh, I finally got one. Crazy. Yay. Well, I took a wither for it. A withering for it, but there it is. There's the drop of evil. Apparently the drop chance is about 1 in 10. Of course, it's going to be more if you have looting. So now we can take our drop of evil, and we can craft it with a golden lasso. And now we have the cursed lasso, and now we get to do the fun thing of trying to catch a ghast. But fortunately, we can fly, so that's going to make it easy. But of course, we do have to damage the ghast before we can catch it. Oh, I hear you. I hear you. Oh, there you are. Oh, look at you. You are like conveniently hanging out right here. But you gotta be careful not to hit them with their own fireballs, because of course. Alright, are we there yet? Ah! Nope, 2 hearts. Gotta get down to 2 hearts. Okay, there we go. Yay! Now we can go home. So JEI doesn't complete it for the recipe for us, but we can put those guys, like so, and there we have it. There's our angel ring. Oh. Now normally we would have to put the squid ring in the middle there, but we're going to lose our wings of the bat, but that's okay, because we now have permanent flight, and we don't have to worry about, and then we get our cursed lassos, our lassos back as empty lassos. And now we can fly. We can fly forever. We don't have to worry about the ring timing out on us. Nice. Unfortunately, by default, the angel ring does not go in your bauble slot. But there is a mod called Angel Ring to Bauble, which is currently crashing my game, so I have it disabled. But once that's fixed, we'll be able to craft this in a crafting grid to get a bauble angel ring that we can put in our bauble slot. But for now, we can fly forever. And this ring does, as you can see when we hover over it, it does require 32 GP, which basically translates to 2 watermills. So, yeah, there we have it. We can now fly creatively. Nice. Welcome back to Main Street, Old Cyrenus Town. I really missed it here. I haven't been here for a really, really, really long time. And I've just been running around checking out the sites, looking at things and remembering. Here's our old power plant. Here's our old greenhouse. Oh, our leggy tree farm. I forgot how leggy things were in 110.2. And our immersive engineering area. So the reason we came here, whoa, I'm really fast, because I have Draconic stuff in this world. I am in my, for those of you who are not familiar with this place, I'm in my 110.2 series world. So this is an old world. It's a different world. It's a completely different character. I've got, you know, Draconic armor here. This is, we reached endgame here and then we moved on. There's my little house on the hill. But anyway, before we do anything, I actually want to just do a quick run through of things. But before we do that, just to kind of remember stuff. Do you remember this place? This was the viewer shrine. This is the place where I show you guys how much I love you. Because I built this place just to kind of honor my subscribers and to honor people who are helping me out and helping out my channel. And I have my patrons here and my helpful commenters and all that stuff. So I just wanted to show you a few new heads we've got in here. So these are the level 2 patrons, people who are giving me, I think it's $10 a month. We have Reese, we have Mr. Man #1, and we have Paluto, and he's actually a new one. I just put his head up today. Although he isn't that new. We just haven't been here for a really long time. He's actually been supporting the channel for a few months now. And then here's our full list of patrons, including those that are doing the $3 level. That we have Paluto, which we just saw up there, Reese, Mr. Man #1. We also have King Toothless 1, iEnergy, and Z-Bob. Thank you guys so much for your support. It totally means a lot to me, not just because of the money. The money's nice and it helps to pay for the servers and all that, but it lets me know that you guys care about the stuff that I'm doing, my videos, my mod packs and servers and all that stuff, and I really enjoy doing that kind of stuff, so it means a lot to me that it also means a lot to you. I added a couple of commenters. My Wither, Red Nebula, have been leaving a lot of really helpful comments, and I love it when you guys do that. And just being active in the comment section and stuff, because that's one of my favorite things about YouTubing is chatting with you guys in the comments, and it's just the whole community of it that I really enjoy. And then I also added Danny is the best. He has the best freaking username. Let's just do a quick run through and check out our old world, because I did miss this place. Oh, remember the greenhouse? The botanical gardens? This is where we did all of our forestry stuff, our forestry trees, and our forestry bees. And then, of course, we would take our little bridge over here to the house on the hill. And my big messy backyard, this was kind of the early game stuff, except this we built later. This is our automation for the actual additions in power. And we can see we have storage crates down there, which used to match pretty well, except now they have the Christmas the Christmas thing on them. Here's our messy Botania area and our messy blood magic area, which, of course, we don't have blood magic in our new pack because it doesn't exist in 112.2 quite yet. And then here's the house, my old house. Oh, I miss my house. This was definitely a different kind of build than I have in my world now, because it was more of like a cabin style, like with our little loft up here and stuff, and a little bedroom. Definitely a smaller build for sure. And then all of our automation stuff was down here, and our refined storage stuff was all in here. Oh, and Neotech! I almost forgot. Building is what we're calling the dripping crucible. You might be able to figure out what that's a reference of, but it has a little hidden passageway that takes us to an alternate dimension which is somewhat similar. I actually meant to complete this area and make it just like our overworld dimension, but with a magical theme. Yeah, but it's kind of a mess. Evilcraft was actually the last thing we did, and we created this wither spawning. Here was our Evilcraft stuff, and then this was our Draconic evolution infusion thing. This was actually meant to be my magic dimension. This is where I was going to play all the magic mods, but by the time we had gotten to this point, we had already played Blood Magic. Oh, I have a big hole for a window. We'd already played Blood Magic and Britannia and stuff, so I love this Cocoloba wood still. It's such a nice looking wood. Yeah, I never finished this. This particular building is exactly the same as the one in the overworld. And those are just similar. Like, they're similar to it, but then I added some little magical things, like the curved walls and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, fun. And then this is exactly the same. So, like, yeah. It'd be nice to have some, like, saloon furnishings and stuff in there. And a little park. Oh, and our old greenhouse. Using progressive automation, each one of these things is individually controlled. These farms only harvest when we need the particular items. Our power plant, there's our deep resonance, which we're going to be doing very soon. We're going to be doing deep resonance very soon in our new world. And then this was just kind of some random stuff. We've got Actual Additions, canola oil stuff going on over here, and then we've got some immersive engineering stuff over here. Oh, and the elevator. Nice. Oh, I miss this world. I do hope you enjoyed this. If you do have any questions, comments, ideas, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you just want to say hello, or if I missed you, if you think you should be in the shrine and I missed you, we are going to be building a new shrine in our new world at some point. I hope you join me for that. Of course, if you did enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button and to join me next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.